Hey, what's up, guys? Adam Lobo here, and you have been listening to Cultivating the Masses, a podcast by Renegade Radio and CultureTalent.
Hey, welcome to Cultivating the Masses. My name is Adam Arif, and I'm the producer for this show. Every day, we look for like-minded individuals who are willing to share their passion on why they do what they do best. Essentially, we want their story to cultivate the masses. This show is what we're all about.
The guest we have today is not your typical tech review guy. Adam Lobo has been in the music scene for the past 17 years, rocking his iconic dreadlocks on hits.tv to reviewing the latest gadgets on YouTube. Today, he's one of the most influential tech guy in the Malaysian YouTube scene. Well, we are here to find out how this transition happened. Hi, this is Bryler, and welcome to another episode of Cultivating the Masses. This podcast is a collaboration between CultureTalent and Renegade Radio. Let's get to it! Alright, good evening, Adam Lobo.
Yo, what's up?
That is such a good name.
Yes,
Right. I was wondering, where did you actually get that name from?
that is a very interesting question because some people think that the name is nama glamour. It is not.
Okay.
My full name, I'll tell publicly right now, is Nadim Adam bin Herman Lobo. So the Lobo is my family's name, and yes, I am Muslim, just so you guys know. I know
Okay.
I don't look like one, so I can get away with it sometimes, but I don't. And
Right.
so yes, the Lobo is a family name. So any people who you meet here who has a Lobo at the back is related to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so my cousins, because I come from a mixed family, my dad converted to Muslim in order to get married to my mom. And of course, he retained his name as his last name, which is
Right.
Lobo, so the Lobo family. So you may find the rest of the Lobo families are Christians because my dad was a Christian before he converted. So yes, the Lobo is a family name. It is in my birth cert, but it's not in my IC because...
Right.
It's quite funny because it all depends on when exactly that you were born. So sometimes like you can actually put, so like I had one of my school friends, I remember her name was Jihan Tan. She could put her family name. So that was depends on when exactly you were born and stuff.
Right.
So I don't have it in my IC, I have it in my Surat Beranak. And yes, so that's how Adam Lobo is. So even from day one, it has been Adam Lobo, not because of Nama Glamour. It is actually my real name.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Finally, we get an answer to that one.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been running in our head for quite some time.
You know, you can
Yeah.
always ask me, so
Anyways.
that's why I'm here, right?
Right. So right before we start, maybe you can run us through about your background, your history, and what do you do currently and all that.
Okay, for those of you who are listening who has absolutely no idea who's this Indian fellow with this mock accent, I am Adam Lobo. I have been, I started off from the music industry, from this rap metal band called Dragon Red, where we have 2 albums. In a nutshell, we are Best English Artist for AIM. I am a best rock vocalist for 2 years in a row. Doing rap metal music is one of my favorite things to do in the world. Although right now I've transitioned myself into doing videos, music is still my number one. If rap metal is still relevant right now, I will be doing it. And so I was and still am in a band, although the band is not as active as Dulu. So if you kira until now, it is 17 years. The band's been around with 2
Wow.
albums. But of course, right now, like I said, the rap metal genre is not as
Yeah.
relevant. It is relevant still in Japan. I was like, what? So even we still get sales in Japan. And so I was in the band and still am in the band because the band is not officially disbanded or anything. And just about 2.5 years ago, I decided to go into my another passion, which is tech. Not
Right.
specifically doing videos per se. I just wanted to, because I was always been the resident tech guy, where people always go to me, hey bro, what's the best phone to get, or what's the best headphones to get? And I did not know how to kind of present what I wanted to do in terms of how do I project, because I'd be like, I want to do a video, tapi I langsung tak tahu pasal what should I use, what DSLR camera is, what's an aperture value, what is a shutter speed. So when I did research on that, then I was like, you know what, maybe I can kind of translate or, express myself through video once I learn all of these tactics. So yes, I started off about 17 years ago being a frontman of the band Dragon Raid, which all the amazing experience that I had both on stage and also off stage. And then right now I'm a full-time tech YouTuber who
Right.
does high quality tech videos in
Right.
this current country, Malaysia coup. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, like exactly like when I saw your video, Adam Lobo, right? And the first time I remember watching your video on YouTube, I saw Adam Lobo. I'm like, why does this guy look so familiar, you know? And then I only found out literally when Adam here told me that he's bringing Adam Lobo, the guy who was fronting the band Dragon Red. I'm like, wait. It's the guy who fronted Dragon Red because I grew up when I was around 10 to 11 years old. I grew up listening to some of your music, right?
Thank you.
Especially on hits.tv. It was really huge
Yeah,
back then, right?
hits.tv now it became don't know what already.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, while we're still at the topic of the band, right, I do want to know how did that one all started and what was the journey like?
That's a very
And
good question.
How did you guys actually got inspired to start the band? Yeah.
Okay, so the band, not the tech channel.
Yep.
Now, when it comes to the band, it's quite a very interesting story. I did mention most of the interviews, but I guess this is to reiterate for those of you who never ever heard of Dragon Raid. It all started off from one of the members or one of the founding members, Landslide from Poetic Ammo. He has always been a fan of rock. He used to listen to Rancid and Skid Row and stuff. And he although Poetic Ammo was very well known to do hip hop kind of music, once he left the band, left the group, he thought that he wanted to create a band instead. He reached out to my guitarist, who is the brother of Rina Omar, who's the drummer for the band called Intoxicated, which is also under the same label as Poetic Ammo. So he said, look, I'm looking for a guitarist since I introduced you to my guitarist. So the word was out. I was in College Damansara Utama, KDU in Damansara. The word went out about how, that Landslide from Poetic Ammo was looking for a vocalist. So I did not kawan suruh saya pergi. I actually went for a freaking audition.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was in freaking Black Video Studios, like Indian Video, Black Video Studios, just next at PJ area lah. So I had a lineup, bro. I lined up to audition. Then the moment I went in there were two songs which I had to audition. But just before I talk about the songs I had to audition, the moment I stepped foot there, I saw the guitarist and the drummer, and I actually know them since Sekolah Rendah.
Okay.
I came from Sekolah Rendah Kampung Tunggu, SS1 for life. And when I was there, I said, hey, this is Amil, my Sekolah Rendah friend, and Suresh, who was then the drummer. And I was given two very interesting songs which I absolutely love to sing.
Which
one is Korn's Freak on a Leash.
Okay.
And another one is Linkin Park's A Place for My Head.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, the go away, yo. So that was something, we started off with that. So I was like, oh, fuck, this fella can scream, lo. And when it came to Freak on a Leash, that's where I know I'm going to milk it, because I can do a boom, I could do that very well. So void something about. So I could do that, and they were like, what the hell? Because I'm a huge Korn fan, and I felt that kind of music and that kind of genre fit me very well, and immediately I got the spot to be part of the band. And from there, right, I'll be very honest, we all sat down, and Landslide was like, oh, this is my vision for the band. I'm going to get some endorsements. We're going to get shows outstation, like in Penang and Johor. And I was like, tipu lah botak ni. Cakap je. You ingat sing senang ke? But everything that he actually said, it actually happened.
Wow.
We had a Adidas deal. We had sponsorship with Adidas. We did a tour with Adidas. We had like a shopping center tour. We had some tours with DG, with Maxis. We had lots of performances. Our first show is actually way back in Penang. We performed at USM, I still remember, January 12th, 2002. It was a very good experience. And the next show was X Games. And that's where the first time we actually officially kind of shared stage with Pop Shawit. So that's how I know Moods and all. And Pop Shawit was just about 6 months before that. So they were actually headlining X Games. And then the following year, at that time X Games was pretty big here in Malaysia. And then every single year we used to share stage together, and that's where Love Me Butch and all the other bands actually came out. Not came out. I mean, Love Me Butch was a band that I've always listened to, but they also was part of the so-called commercial shows that we had, and it was great to see that how music was really nice those days compared to
Right.
now. I'm not saying music sucks.
Yeah, it
It's
was
just
just
that
a different time.
it's a different
yeah.
time where the genre was a bit more heavier and
Yeah.
people could accept it.
I felt like people back then were a lot angrier.
I wouldn't say angry because here's the thing. A lot of people, like for example, Roshan from K-Town Clan,
Right.
he told me that how he was shocked because he saw me on stage. I was a different guy, and off the stage, I was a different guy. I guess it's my Gemini side coming in, but a lot of people think that, oh, just because you do heavy metal music, you're an angry guy. I don't think so because I don't know whether you guys listen to this band called Cradle of Filth, black
Oh,
metal.
yeah,
So
definitely.
the lead singer Danny Filth, right? He's the nicest guy on the world, He's
Okay.
like he's so polite. Tapi kalau nyanyi kutuk semua orang and kutuk all the gods in the world. And
Right.
but he's the most decent guy when you talk compared to a lot of other commercial musicians out
Right,
there.
right.
Yeah. So that is how the whole journey started. We created an album. The first album got us a lot of awards. The second album was not as good, to be honest. I can say that because the second album we thought we wanted to go commercial. Bad move. We did make money, but the fans were, not to say tak suka, the fans were a bit more not who we wanted to have because it was more commercial. Our third album, which took damn long, we actually got 8 songs ready, and a lot of people like our new stuff, but last time kita ada banyak excuse macam we don't have a studio, we don't have this, we don't have that. Now we got studio all, lagu pun tak ada, tapi tak ada time for everybody to kind of get together. We got 8 songs, and I absolutely love the songs. The songs were performed live before for gigs, and people was like, yeah, I can't wait to record. He said, yeah, end of this year. For the past how many years? End of the year lah. So you know how it happens lah. Because I guess because we all started off, I think I started the band, I joined the band when I was like 19 years old. So when you're starting off, you're very semangat, right? It's like, yeah. And then when you grow older, because like my guitarist have a kid, and Landslide's got 2 kids. So, priorities change, especially when you have a day job, because if this is our full time, means then we'll go on and be a Metallica all the way, right? It's like non-stop come up with albums and content.
Yep.
So that's my musical journey. Currently, I also have another band.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do have another band.
Okay.
It's not mentioned yet because nothing has been going out. I've been recording. It's called Fist of Pain.
Okay.
It is like, instead of rap metal, it is like your kill switch engage kind of music, where it is like the verses is more on the screaming, and then the choruses is on the singing. So that band we are planning to release, because I just recorded about 4 songs, just recording one more song, and that is the thing. And like I mentioned, although I love video stuff, but music is still my number one. It's still my number one thing. I don't have to take any Red Bull or coffee for me to actually get super hyped up.
Wow.
I just need music, and it just keeps me like, yeah, I need the music.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Oh, that kind of scared me for a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, it was nice knowing all those backgrounds from you, but now we do have a question that we really want to talk about, right? Seeing you doing tech reviews, it's a big transition right there.
It is.
Just
yeah.
coming from a rap metal band
Yeah.
to doing tech reviews. That's
Yeah.
completely 2 different industries.
Yep.
And we just want to know, what was your changing point and how did you take that one in?
Okay. Here's also something where usually my very close friends knows about it, so I will actually reveal it. How did it happen exactly, and why also at the same time. About 3 years ago, I sat down with a band and I told them, I said, guys, things are changing right now. You can't create music, lepas tu you put it in radio and then you pray to God that it's going to play. You need the social media, and this is like 3.5 years ago tau, and when social media was not that big yet.
Yep.
But because I came from a media company, I kind of understand that how social media is important back then. That means 3.5 years ago. And I told them, okay, guys, we need to come up with a whole marketing campaign for every single releases. And I'll be honest, they were freaked out. They was like, huh? You mean we can't make music and just take it out anymore? I said, you can, but if you have a huge following, we do have a good following, but we don't have the kind of following enough to actually kind of, tell the radios to you make sure you play our stuff. And at the same time, our music was not being as relevant, because hits used to play the music, although they were screaming. Like my first ever single, Fade Away, I was screaming, and it was played in the radio, and it was one of the songs which was playing high rotation. Our second single, Holocaust, it was the same,
Yep.
where you had the rotation there, although I was screaming, right? And nowadays you can't imagine songs having played on the radio with that kind of songs as well. And at the same time, we just want to also how the transition happened is very simple, because when a guy said, okay, like, you know what, maybe we should just create music and we should not really go so much on the social media. So I had a bit more time, and I was like, okay, look, I want to move on my pace. But the boys was like, I think, Adam, let's just chill lah, we just make music. So because of that, I was like, okay, look, I need to do something which is based on my pace. I didn't want to go singing solo, because I wanted to try something totally different to actually show my other talents besides music. So what I decided to do is that I wanted to go into tech reviews, because I am a huge fan of tech. I am the kind of person who goes online YouTube 24 hours a day, do as much research as possible. I was the resident tech guy within my friends. And there were two individuals which actually inspired me to create my YouTube channel. One is this guy named Jonathan Morrison from TLD, and of course Marcus Brownlee, MKBHD. When I saw this, I'm like, why is their tech reviews like a movie, right? With a whole cinematic kind of look and all. And I was doing research here in Malaysia, and nobody has done something like that. I wanted to be the first to do something like that at the time. And I still think, I'm not tooting my own horns here, I still think that I have the highest quality video
definitely
in this country when it comes to tech reviews. I'm not tooting my own horns again, like I said. I don't think that things should be very chinchai, everything should be proper, everything should take a play, and it's been 2.5 years, and that's how I did my research on the camera gear, what exactly I need to use, what's the right lighting, what's the right camera, shutter speed, everything, aperture, and that's how I actually transitioned myself from a musician to a tech review on YouTube.
Wow. Okay, now that we got into the part where you're a tech reviewer now, you're doing that most of the time, and I just want to know, because this thing has been going on and on and on for years.
Okay.
Right? Your thoughts on how Android and iPhones are being marketed.
Okay, the thing is that as a tech reviewer, if you just purely do iOS devices, you don't have much work to do throughout the whole entire year. Mainly because usually your Apple keynotes happen like twice in a year. And I believe, because I read Steve Jobs' books and the kind of guy that he is, and he actually recommended the current guy, Tim Cook, to actually take over because of his style. But I'm not a fan of what he's doing to the brand.
Tim Cook, you mean?
Yeah, Tim Cook, yeah. And the thing about how the brand has became a brand which started off being an innovator, to the people who relax dulu, kita tengok macam mana teknologi, lepas tu kita masuk. And there's so many Android devices. Last time, the so-called Android king was the Sonys and the Motorola's of the world.
Right.
I mean, the other kind of, Nokia had Symbian, and I was like, what is this? But now, with the rise of new brands, especially like, a lot of people are not paying, people are already starting to pay attention on this brand, but this brand Honor, which is the sub-brand for Huawei, is going to meletop really soon. It's already meletoping here in Malaysia, in India, and in China. I believe that Honor is your next best thing, and Android has so many different kinds of manufacturers which is going on, and compared to Android and iOS devices, a lot of people complain about how, and I want to give you guys an insight of why is this the case.
Share with us.
Like, a lot of people say about why when I Instagram stories on iOS devices, it looks nicer compared to Android. The point is this: if I am Instagram, or if I am any other app maker, if I'm going to make an app, I just need to make one type of iOS app, and it is streamlined towards an iPad, to an iPhone, everything. But if you make an app for an Android user, you need to make sure that you fill in together with all the skins. Like you have your Magic UI on Honor devices, you have EMUI on Huawei, you have the Samsung's One UI, you have your Oxygen OS on OnePlus devices. So when you create an app, it's going to be a bit difficult for you to make it optimized for everything. But for those of you who are wondering which Android device which optimizes very well with social media is Samsung. It's because of the One UI is your so-called stripped down version of their Samsung experience. Before this, Samsung experience was very buggy.
Yep.
So their new One UI is great, especially if you use like the newer S10 devices. Because it records in 4K. Your front camera is 4K. No matter how much quality drop pun, it's from 4K. It's dropped to 1080p is fine. But if you're going from 1080p display to dropping further, that's where it becomes ugly. And for the longest time, EMUI had this issue, and I still think that they have the issue whereby kalau you buat Instagram stories, the audio video syncing can be lari sikit. But now it's getting a bit better. But yeah, I think the war comes between of what ecosystem that you're in. I am getting, personally for me, like I said, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Personally for me, I've always been a fan of the Mac devices. I've never been a fan of iOS devices because of how it limits yourself from doing things. Like you cannot customize your widgets. Only now only the widgets come in. And there was a huge, dark mode. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Baru sekarang.
Yeah.
It's like so many people came out dark mode. Like it's been years, right, for Android devices.
Yep.
It all comes down to the ecosystem. Like one of my friends, his name is Edwin, and he told me, bro, okay, I have an iPhone 7 and I want to buy a tablet. Should I go with a Android tablet or an iOS tablet? I told him to go with iOS tablet not because I think that it's a better tablet, because of the ecosystem. It's easier for him to transfer photos.
It's seamless.
Seamless. It's easy because that is what we want, because we are all getting very used to technology. So I don't think, the war which is going on, it all depends on you as a user, what ecosystem that you're tied into. If you are heavily invested on buying AirPods, the HomePod and all that. Yes, the iOS dongle life, which, like dongle this current laptop tak ada dongle lah. Saya punya ada dongle life, where the dongles are quite karat sometimes. But yeah, so to me, the war, I don't think it's a war anymore, because the Android devices are getting way more faster. Like the new Note 10 has super fast charging up to 45 watts, bro. 45 watts. And when is iOS device going to have that? Is it going to be iPhone 11? I don't think so.
They did release a fast charger recently, but it comes with a different adapter where you need to buy it too.
It's like that lah. That's their way of actually making their money, right? And to me, I don't think it's a war anymore. It's war within the Android world. So it's a war between the Android devices. So maybe it's like the war between Huawei and Samsung, because Samsung is still number one.
Why do you think it's a war between Android? Maybe you can share a little bit.
Because of the competitive nature for each one of them. So like, for example, the P series for Huawei has always been like your best pro camera. But their main feature is that zoom in 50 times. Siapa nak zoom in 50 times? Lagi satu. Number 2, you zoom in 50 times, you nak taruh dekat Instagram, is like, quality lari. So sometimes some of the features does not make sense. So to me, something which like I just mentioned, like Honor phones, they zoom up to 5 times, but the quality is cantik. You can stand in one place, you can take very good pictures. So that's why I said, and like I didn't like how, not because I'm a fan of Samsung ke apa lah, but to me it's like I remember when the unveiling of the Huawei P30, and it's like that guy, the CEO or whoever he is, he went up, for the Huawei P30 we can take photos of the Galaxy, even Galaxy phone Samsung cannot take photos of the Galaxy, haha. Itu macam budak kecil darjah 2 tengah kutuk orang tau. So it's like, so that's why I say it's war, because they're going to that point. I'm glad that brands like Samsung is a bit more classy. They don't do that. If they do it in style. It's like they come up with campaigns and stuff. You don't have to cheap shot people lah. It's like macam wrestling pula. It's like, you come on now, let's fight. Macam tu lah. So to me, that's why I said it's not really competition between Android and iOS devices anymore. It's actually Android and Android.
That's true.
So that's why.
As a reviewer, what are some of the things that you have to share when you're doing a review of a product?
Different reviewers online, different guys do their different ways of reviewing products. So like, for example, if you look at camera gears, like when Peter McKinnon does his camera gears, it's very personal. That's why he's so amazing. He can make a review of a bottle air pun orang akan tengok, because the way how he present it. Everybody has their own format. Marcus Brownlee got his own format. TLD has his own format. Austin Evans has his own format. But my format is that I always start off with the unboxing. because that is something where people like to watch. I don't want to put a separate video just specifically for unboxing. I always start off, my format for phones is the unboxing, followed by the specs just to get everything out, and then I go with the build quality because people want to know how's the build, is it very slippery and stuff like that, and then I go with the camera, and I go with the camera with the photos and videos, orang nak tengok, especially for front cameras because everybody use Instagram stories and stuff,
Right.
and then I go with the display. I go with the display, and then the battery life. And battery life for me is very important. Now, I'm not talking anybody else, but I noticed that some, and I'm not going to mention who, is like some of the reviewers, when they review phones, they don't necessarily use the phone as their daily driver.
Right.
They use it as a second phone. And I'm very opposed to that because kalau you nak review a phone, you kena guna lah phone every day. So sometimes when I use some of the brand's phone, which is like entry level, I'm like, oh my god, kill me now, it's so slow. And I take my SIM card out and I put it there. I'm not the kind of person to rock 2 phones and 3 phones. I don't know how people do it. So I think it's very essential that reviewers should and must use all these devices as their daily driver, whether it's headphones or or smartphones. Make sure you use it every day. So that's the reason why when brands come and approach me and say, oh, I give you a phone 3 days, 4 days, I said, sorry, I won't do it. How can I give a review based on 3 days, 4 days? I always said at least 2 weeks plus. So during the 2 weeks, I will review the filler Kau, and then towards the end of that means like katakan if I need to send it like day after tomorrow, so like 3 days sebelum tu, then I do my front facing shot, and then I've already shot all the product shots sudah during my review period. So at the end, like 1 day or 2 days before, only is when I do my front-facing reviews to actually talk about it. So I'll script down everything to make sure that I covered every basis and my personal opinion on things, and then I do. Another thing which I've been doing for the past 1 year is that I always break down my reviews to 2 different types of videos, not so many. One is called the first impressions video. The reason why the first impressions video is just to let you guys know what are the specs, okay? That's one. Number 2 is for me to actually communicate with what the people want to know. So I always said at the end of first impressions video, I said that do let me know what you guys like to know about the phone at the comment section below, and my full video review will be based on your question. So when my full video review comes out, I will actually give the normal coverage which I mentioned earlier, but I will go into certain specific things which the people who commented over there, because sometimes they have questions where we as reviewers don't have. And that could also be another way for me to kind of have a better connection with the subscribers, to make sure that they are subscribing to a channel who listens to them.
Right.
And this is something which I plan to do. So that is my format, and my format has been like that for the past 2 years, maybe 1.5 years to 2 years lah. But that is how I do lah. I start off with divide it into 2 first impressions video, and then the full review will be based on my full review, and also in addition to that would be the review based on the questions that people ask. So like some of them say, oh, does the phone have an IR blaster? So it's like, then there's a phone gives issue like Xiaomi phones. I don't know why, but a lot of people say, oh, does a Xiaomi phone come with ads? I'm like, tak ada pun. So it's like things like this. So apparently some people are experiencing that when they use a Xiaomi phone, it comes with ads. Then I realized why. Because it is not the global version, is the China version, where they buy it from the non-authorized shops. It is a Xiaomi phone, but it's not the global version.
Right.
So like Xiaomi phones, I give you a very clear example. One phone which is like hotcakes across the world was the Redmi K20 Pro. The Redmi K20. So that phone was released for at least 3 to 4 months, and then only they created a global version, which is called the Xiaomi Mi 9T. So it's different names, can be very confusing. So what happens is that if someone were to bring in the China version, the K20, in China you may not get ads, but if you bring it back here in Malaysia, go to UK ke India ke apa, you might get the ads, right? In order for it to work. So that's why I didn't know this. So if I did not ask the subscribers, what would you like to know, I wouldn't know there's such thing as ads coming out in the phone. Right? So because of me asking the question, that is how I actually found out, oh, there's such thing. So yeah, so that is how my so-called format is for every single review moving forward. And of course, I am fortunate enough that some brands, like for example Edifier, they are always great because they give an extra unit. Because one unit is of course for me to review lah, which means I already unboxed the filler. They always give me an extra unit for me, and I can choose to keep it, but I like to give away stuff.
Right.
I'm always have the nature, so that's
Right.
how I always do giveaways for that lah.
Yeah, I think like when we were talking off mic just now, I think that is what makes you such a great reviewer for me personally.
Thank
is
you.
because that you get in touch with your subscribers, and for me, as a subscriber of yourself, my own, right, and I notice whenever you reply, it makes me feel like there was a lot more connection there. No homo.
It's okay, man. All good. I love you too.
It was so serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like so. Yeah, I think I just want to thank you for like being so, like hardworking, just making sure that you engage
Welcome,
with your
man.
subscribers.
Welcome.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said thank you because I appreciate the thanks and I appreciate the things that as long as, because I'm doing this, although it's my love, but of course, like I said, the reviews are based on to make people make the right purchase decision in the
right,
first place.
right.
Because this is what I used to do when I started out. Before I even had a YouTube channel, I wanted to buy something. I do research. So now I am kind of giving back to the community, where I'm giving back to the community. Yes, because I need to give them. It is not about. It's more like me. Okay, look, YouTube has been a platform where I used to watch reviews before I buy anything.
Right.
So now it comes to a point whereby I am doing that in return to make sure that people get it. And something like Edify, for example, I don't understand the naming, numbering, confusing here. So like, for example, the TWS earbuds, which I did review, they released TWS 3 dulu. And then lepas tu TWS 2. Tapi TWS 2 is newer than 3. And then they released TWS 5. And then TWS 1. What happened to 4? Then I know lah, because the Chinese say 4 is same.
Right.
So yeah. So that is how it is, and that's how I plan to do the stuff.
Let's talk about reputation for now, right?
Okay.
How does building your image, your personal brand, still plays a big role in any industry that you're in?
That's a interesting and a bit vague of a question. So I think I'll dive into how it relates to me specifically. I have 3 platforms which I look at in terms of personal branding, and all 3 platforms has its own direction for the branding. Ultimately, honestly, before I created Adam Lobo TV, I thought I'm going to call it like Lobo Tech or something like that.
Right.
But I thought that, since Dragon Raid was a band Dragon Raid, and I just thought that instead of me branding another new name, I wanted to brand my name. Now, going back to the 3 different platforms, like I mentioned, the first platform would always obviously be YouTube. So YouTube is your tech reviews, your Q&A stuff. Facebook is a place where, for Adam Lobo TV, where if you want to read articles and stuff, I post articles every day on a weekday. Weekend I'll just chill because I need to do my edits and stuff. And then Instagram is actually divided. If you look at my recent timeline, a bit gila sikit, but it actually was originally catered in a way, because when the Astro show came in, that's why I had to kind of promote it a bit more, just to make sure that I get the view reaches from my online followers, because I do have a lot of local people who watches TV still, who actually came up to me and say, hey, you young tech talks with Adam Lobo, the Astro. I'm like, hey, okay, that's cool. So it's kind of good, because that one actually goes towards the people who do not watch YouTube. So for Facebook, it's just articles and short form content. And then for YouTube, it's your YouTube reviews. Now, Instagram is divided into 3 categories. Is my tech, my gym, and also my grooming, because I am sponsored by Cheap Fitness and True Fit and Hill. So in terms of personal branding, I look at Instagram as my personal branding. And why is it important? Because I am affiliated with these brands is because I like. Because I don't want to be affiliated with brands which I don't really like. I mean, I'm sure everybody's the same, kan? It's not like, tak apalah dia kasih duit, tak apalah dia kasih free sambil. Just to not to say plug the brands, but for example, True Fit and Hill, one haircut is 90 ringgit, memang mahal. But like if you're gonna get married ke apa, it's a very good experience for you to go. And they have it is the oldest barber in the world, Guinness Book of
really?
Record. Yeah, it is
How
the
many
oldest
years
barber.
already?
I don't know, tapi memang it's the oldest barber in the world. It's started from UK, True Fit and Hill,
Wow.
and they have the best service. Women like to go for all their, like, oh, I want to go wash my hair, but you go to True Fit and Hill, and like I said, that's the place where memang if you can't, if you can't afford to go there every week, which is expensive, you can go like once a month, just to kind of, like give yourself a bit pampering. Like women got a mani pedi. I know some guys go to mani pedi lah, but we can actually go for the very nice haircut with a shave and shape. Shave and shape is about 60 ringgit if I'm not mistaken. But what they do is that before the shave, right, they'll give you this warm towel, put on your face. And it's like, aku terus boleh tidur tau. So it's like you have this lavender kind of smell, and then after you shave ready, and you use the old school blade, and then you shave, and then after you put your cold towel. So that's the reason why, and it is a way for me to show people that grooming is important, but also at the same time pampering yourself is great. Cheap Fitness, among all the fitness centers that I've been, I love Cheap Fitness because of the quality that it brings, and maybe not so good for the brand, but I like the fact that the gyms are not always packed. So it's like some of it is like, for example, I go to the Bangsar shopping center one, which is not very heavily populated by people, and the people there are very decent. Like, you don't see weights everywhere, you don't see the dumbbells chucked everywhere. It's always clean. It is not because they got best cleaners, it's because they have very decent members who actually respect the product, whereby like, after habis dia punya weighted training, put it over there. So when it comes to personal branding, I see the branding only coming specifically on Instagram. For the other platforms, it's just me just spreading out the tech love.
Right. Cool. Right. Now that we've known that you went through your band, your lifestyle, you went through your life starting a band, making a transition to a tech reviewer, and now you're affiliated with multiple brands. I think we want to give our listeners a little bit of thoughts, and what are some of the lessons that you have learned throughout this whole journey of your life? And you're currently at what age, if I don't mind?
I'm 36, I think.
36, right.
My math's fucked up. I'm a musician. I count to 4 only. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1983.
1983. Can someone count?
I'm sure like whoever's listening to the podcast is like, dude, you're so dumb. Dia dah buat 36.
There we go. You're not no worries about that. Yeah. So we just want to share a little bit of thoughts and what are the lessons that you have learned
Okay.
that whole journey.
I will divide it into two. One is musician. Another one is the tech thing. I can be very honest, although this may people tak percaya, but music wise, it has been amazing. My whole journey with music has been great, and performing in front 20,000 to 30,000 to 50,000 to 100,000 people is still the best feeling in the world. Nothing can beat that feeling, seriously. And the only thing that I used to get is because I was the extreme one within the music industry when I first came out. It's like I was the guy with the dreadlocks, I was the guy with the piercing, I was the guy who dressed up with a jippa on stage, and once upon a time I had a teddy bear in my pocket and I had these moto gloves. I took it a bit more extreme, and I did get negative comments. I did take it a bit to heart. So one thing I learned from a musician point of view is that I should not take these negative comments to heart. And just do my music and just perform as usual, because when I got it means then so that would be for the music side. Music has been, I would say, always great in terms of what I did. Now for the tech one, it's a bit tricky. Here's where I believe I kind of learned a lot of things at the same time, how it was in terms of the hard work put into it. Number one, as a content creator, I'm sure Adam can actually relate. Sometimes some of your videos you don't get the views, and it does give you that freaking morality kick in the ass lah. It's
right.
It's a day, what the fuck lah, you come out with this video cow and then after you go no, so it's like especially for some of the videos you do. So although I'm not supposed to be fully affected by it, but as a human being I do, and I wish that I am not affected by it so much, because when you're affected by it, it kills your morale, and you want to do your next video, it can be quite teruk lah. So one thing I've learned is to not bother about looking at the analytics all the time to go and see how many likes you got, all kind of stuff. Because in the end of the day, what's important is your content. If your content is great, just coming up with great content, no matter what camera you use. I'm not going to go to a point and say, oh, the best camera is in your pocket. Ooh. No such thing. There's no such thing. It is true, your phone cameras are great, but if you can go for higher quality, why not? Content is king.
Definitely.
And okay, so from a tech reviewer or the tech side is number one, you cannot satisfy everybody. Okay, you need to stick to your niche, because when I started out, I was doing lots of things. I was doing smart home, I was doing audio, I was doing smartphone, I was doing so many things. Now I've just done specifically for smartphones and audio. The reason why audio is because people kind of trust me because I'm a musician. So people know, okay, when this fella reviews, it's same like how if I had to take an advice from Marcus Brownlee or Lou from Unbox Therapy, I'll take it from Lou, because Lou used to have his own audio studio. He used to produce music. So I kind of take his word a bit better. And Marcus Brownlee only listens to hip hop and also rap. Lou listens to all kind of music. So like, for example, like suddenly this came out of my mind, is like when Marcus Brownlee said that the Sony MX1000 that headphones, he said that this is the best headphones, is the best when it comes to listening to hip hop and also drum and bass or EDM. Tapi kalau you dengar rock, metal or acoustic sounding, it doesn't sound good.
Right.
So Edifier, why I always say Edifier, because Edifier has a very nice middle ground. So you can listen to all genres. So, and Bose is very good for rock, acoustic and stuff like that. So it all depends on that. So it is hard for you to actually believe in a specific ones. So the second point about the tech one is to make sure that you stick in one. There's no such thing as variety channel.
Right.
You need to stick in one exact, one exact way of doing things. And another thing is that it can be tough because it's not an easy thing. Like music was, no one say easy lah. The music is like you write the song and you record it and it's done, kan? Tapi when it comes to video, again, Adam can relate to this, is that you need to plan the shots, you need to shoot, you need to edit, you need to publish it. It is a lot of work. It is not easy. I'm not saying that don't be a tech reviewer, but I'm saying that, it is a lot of work. Creating videos is absolutely different than creating music. It was a fun experience. I'm not saying that tech is not fun. It's just that it takes a lot of work. Yeah. So that's the things that I would say. One thing for the in conclusion lah, because I talk too much sometimes. In conclusion, for music is that do not let negative comments kill you. When it comes to the doing YouTube or creating content online, don't let the views affect your morale. Number two would be that stick to one type of niche. If you want to do different type of thing, just create a separate channel. Do not have it in one channel, then you just won't have quality subscribers. And number three would be it does take hard work. It's no such thing. I really grind like almost every day. I get like 3 to 4 hours sleep. And so that's why I do, because that's what I love. And so that would be the three things that I would take away from what I've learned as a tech reviewer, and as a musician is just that one thing about the negative comments and negative things that happens lah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Just before we end the episode, I think we have 2 quick questions to ask you very quickly. The first one would be, if you had the chance to meet your 10-year-old self, what advice would you give?
10-year-old, I would say, because when I was 10 years old, there was no easy way to record videos. So 10 years old would be still too young, but maybe if I would say my teenage days, because I feel 10 years old is too young, is to document everything in your life. Because I used to document everything. I used to have the handy cam, and what I used to do is that time there's no YouTube. And I would say if my teenage times, because I joined Renegade when I was 19 years old, I did take videos and stuff, and I just wish that I took videos for everything. So my highly recommended advice for anybody right now within the age, you have a phone, any smartphone can already record video, document everything in your life. Because you know why, you might not know how valuable that these things are. So everything, that's why we got stories and stuff.
Right.
Why I'm not saying document and archive everything lah, but what my point is that make sure to look back, because it's great to actually look back at all the great memories. Because
to be honest, yes.
So to me, if I was in my teens, I would say that I just shoot video as much as possible. Just create content in any point of way. And imagine, like my second album that is behind the scenes, which I recorded and edited, is still on YouTube. I wish I had that behind the scenes for my first album. Because the first album experience was a bit nicer because we had appearances with Joe Flizzo, and this was when he just came out from Too Fat, I'm not saying just came out when Malik disappeared for a while. So it imagine that if I had behind the scenes footage of how Joe was, because Joe at that time was gemuk sikit, he wasn't as slim he's right now. So imagine if I had all those kind of footages those days. So yeah, I would say that just document everything in your life.
Yeah, sometimes going through back all those videos or photos, whatever it may be, right? Sometimes you get emotional and just thinking like, oh man, why was I stressing out about that one? While it's just
because now when you look back, right? So like I have this thing whereby when I listen to music, it always brings me to when I listen to music. So like tiba-tiba I was listening to, I'm sure Adam knows because he follows me on Instagram. So I was listening to Deva, right? And I was listening to Arjuna. I'm like, first of all, I want to punch Onche in the face because he has amazing vocal range. And I remember listening to Arjuna Onche when I was in college, where life was just about music. No stress started to do it. I'm earning way more money than then, but there was no stress. So yes, I agree with you because, when you look back at certain things, you'll be like, yeah, I believe that, it's not about being stressed out about something. It's about how things were a bit easier those days compared to now. Now it's very complicated.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Final one. Where can people find out more about you?
I would say that the number one place that if you want to see my craft is on YouTube, Adam Lobo TV. As I just mentioned that my content is divided into three platforms. If you want something which is very written based, you can check out my Facebook page where every day I upload content where I can't create a video on it. I also have Instagram, which is like, if you want to follow my so-called journey in terms of postings, I do post based on my three main things, which is tech, my grooming, and also my fitness journey. But I'm super active, as Adam knows, on Instagram stories whenever I do something interesting. I don't like, and I think he's seen also, I do not like to put like makan. Here's my food. No. I just tak boleh sel. I tried, but tak boleh. I'm not that kind of people.
Right.
And I also like to, I don't post like family related stuff on stories, because for me my stories is more like a branding thing. So but if you want to see my proper craft, YouTube will be the place for it. It's all Adam Lobo TV. Just type Adam Lobo TV everywhere and you can find it over there.
All right. That's that with Adam Lobo, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. Yeah.
My pleasure.
So if you guys need some more advice before you purchase your next earphones or headphones or smartphones, you can always check his channel, Adam Lobo TV. So yeah, I'm a subscriber myself already.
Yay,
so thank you so much, Adam, for spending your evening with us.
My pleasure.
Yep.
My
so
pleasure.
Thank you. From rocking to reviewing, Adam Lobo is never shy on sharing what is behind his mind. I hope you gain tons of value from this podcast. And if you like this show, it will help us a lot if you could give us a review on wherever you get your podcasts. A special thanks to our guest this week, Adam Lobo, for spending some awesome time with us. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, and wherever you get your podcast from. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. This episode is produced by our senior producer, Azrul and Jeff K, and is supervised by Kelvin Tay and Adam Arif.